Hey, what's going on, friends? We are live. Are we live? Yeah, you guys can hear me. Yeah, can you hear us? All right. Cool, guys. Show a little bit of love in the chats for Jake. We're excited to have him here. It's going to be a good time. We got some exciting stuff to talk about. It's not just a lemon drop, but maybe a little bit of a lemon bomb, maybe a few squirts. Watch your eyes. Should be good. We're excited to be here. Jake, so cool that you could take the time out today. I love that you jumped in amidst a bit of a scheduling conflict that your brother was having. But all the same, we're tired of hearing from Jason as much as we love him. It's good to have a break and bring Jake in. It's great to hear from you, man. We always enjoy having you on the show. Talk to us about what's new and exciting these days.
Everything's new and exciting right now. It's kind of an interesting time because, from my perspective, it's been interesting having Jason out of the country, for this extended period of time as he's working hard trying to put all this together. When in reality, I'm the one that's out of country because everything is over there. And I'm kind of over here trying to hold down the home front and, helping out where I can, when I can. So there's times, in fact, that I watched some of these live videos and there's stuff Jason says that I haven't even heard yet because, everything's moving so fast and really in order to pull off, we were just talking about this. Jason and I have really had to, and many of us on the team have had to compartmentalize our responsibilities so that we can stay focused and actually get this over the finish line. And so, I kind of get an update every morning and every night from him, but really I'm running my path. He's running his path. Corey's running his path, and, and we're trying to stay updated, but it's a little bit chaotic right now, but it's fun and it's a lot of energy. And, we're working long days and Jason's working late nights and trying to stay on both time zones. And it's infectious with the energy that we're creating and obviously getting on and having these interviews with you and seeing the excitement in the crowd and the community is really lifting us up and helping us get over the finish line. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, that's great. It's true because you just have to delegate, you have to compartmentalize, and especially with the time zones. I know we're getting a text with Jason. It's not easy to get him on a phone call if you need to get a hold of him. So yeah, it's been tough, but all things are moving exciting today. So I know you had one at least main subject that you really wanted to tackle today. Did you want to jump right in, or do you have some other things you wanted to handle first?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know that Jason really wanted to be on, but we had kind of a schedule of a special guest that was going to come on, but then he was trying to schedule. If you're in the Telegram chats and understand some of the things that are going on, he's been trying to get on with Shad to do a dual AMA and really kind of express the camaraderie and all things moving forward. And so that was supposed to be today. And then there was a scheduling conflict. And so we had already rescheduled this, part of it and to do this. And then that kind of threw a wrench in the gears. So my apologies, you're stuck with me today, but we're excited to, give you guys some information, nonetheless. And one of the main topics that we want to talk about today is something Jason touched on, but now I think we want to go into a little bit more depth. I think he brought it up and leave it to Jason to drop something early, but now we have the opportunity to kind of get into some of the nitty gritty and some of the fun numbers behind it and why we're choosing to go this direction. So we're really excited about some of the projects we have and today's no different than that. So we can jump right in if you want. Or...
Yeah, no, if you guys are looking for a little preview, I'm gonna drop this right into the group chat so you guys can have a browse of it. So you guys are online, can kind of interact that way because it didn't like the file type when I was trying to upload it in here into the slideshow last minute. So
yeah, Mike said he had to convert it to a PDF or something.
That's what it was. I was like, I remember Mike saying he was having a hard time with it too, and I would have done it if we had a little more time, but we'll still get it in there. People can have a look at it right now, and it's up in the group right now for those who want to see it quick. It's time to chat about it, and we'll get into it. So, all right. So, Jake, we're going to talk about the Lemon Lotto today. That's an exciting topic. It could be a very exciting project on chain. So let's hear about it.
Yeah, so we're coming to market with one of the first fully licensed, regulated crypto lotteries. It's going to be really kind of a fun, unique concept. There's been some other players in this game, but what we're trying to do is going to be on such a global level, as you guys have kind of heard Jason talk about the amount of exposure that we're going to have from not only the partnerships that we're bringing on, but also the networks we're bringing on. That are all either going to be swallowed by Lemon or a partnership with Lemon to achieve the same goal. And so what we've been looking for, different products and opportunities, industries that we can really capitalize on, something that creates a large royalty day one, something that's cash flowing that really fits in line with the tokenomics that, we've created here, that we've become known for, which is a deflationary tokenomics supported by the royalties of a project. And so the lottery is no different. It's an interesting thing. And honestly, I'm not really a lottery player myself. But looking at the statistics behind some of the things, it was amazing to me how big the lottery industry is. I mean, it's massive. I'm going to talk a little bit. I had to actually look up some numbers. So I'm pulling some of these from, looks like some online things, but North America, let's see, what year was this? In 2021. So this is even a couple years old. You have any guesses how big the lottery industry is?
I mean, it's got to be massive. Some of the jackpots they give out are incredible, and we know they're putting a ton of money in their own pockets too. So I mean,
2021 was $95.6 billion just in the U.S. Just in the U.S.
Crazy.
What was amazing to me about that statistic is if you go back a couple years before that, it's larger than any other entertainment industry in the world. It's bigger than, for comparison's sake, 63 billion was spent on sports tickets, books, video games, movie tickets, and record music combined.
That's astounding, really. That's shocking.
Isn't that surprising?
It's shocking.
It's unbelievable. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is blending new technologies with old industries. And by implementing cryptocurrency, into, or the underlying blockchain technology, it's far ahead of the traditional lottery system. With all the smart contracts that we can put in, it ensures a fair and balanced, system that can't be manipulated, or that it's going to be fully transparent, which is fun. But it's also just a way to create an entertainment value within the ecosystem. There's a lot of projects that are very serious, and they're very exciting to look at, but they're not really gamified, if you will, and so this will be a very gamified experience. Again, we're trying to create things that connect to the user, that makes them want to come back and makes them want to engage and makes them want to, be a part of this really ecosystem that we're building here. And this is going to play a part in it. And we talked a little bit before this, there's another element to this that we'll get into probably next week, but this will be the first part. And so this is going to be very exciting. We've got some really cool partnerships to give away exotic cars, to give away buckets of cryptocurrency. There's going to be a Powerball aspect to it. There's going to be smaller, giveaways that will include LEM gear and some smaller prizes, but it's going to be a wide range, and hopefully everybody can participate in that. And the biggest benefit or draw to us is the revenue side of it. It's massive, and it will just contribute to those tokenomics like, almost no other project out there. So we're really excited about the way that that's going to impact the NFT holders and our community as a base.
It's really cool because it's fun, it's gamified, it's something different. And I think even most entrepreneurs and crypto investors and investor types, just that general mentality, probably don't play the lottery. We believe in controlling our own destiny. But when it's a part of your ecosystem and part of your world, it becomes fun to play. And who doesn't want to win a lemon Ferrari or something like that, right? That's a lot of fun.
It creates a promotional event that we can do a lot of publicity around, press releases. We can have these exciting things where, we can welcome the winners in, they can come to Dubai, they can, get the whole experience. There's going to be trips that are given away. There's going to be a lot of social event. I mean, there's going to be a wide range. So it's not just a traditional lotto. We're going to incorporate all things lemon, within it. So there's going to be NFT giveaways. There's going to be a lot of things that, maybe wouldn't appeal to the traditional lottery player, but will appeal to our base and the things that we're doing moving forward.
Yeah, that's really cool to tie a lot of different events around that whole gamified thing. I mean, then you build kind of a mini ecosystem within the ecosystem of that. And we have crypto gaming of other sorts, but I don't know of anything remotely related to the lottery. So it's really just a great little angle to take on, great little niche to own. And it also creates a lot of token movement. lot of circulation of the token through the wallets. It creates that velocity of money, if you will, and creates another use case for the token itself. So love it.
And the underlying blockchain, which is great, which is what we're always trying to do, is proof concept. So the nice part about something like this is it's not going to be, secluded within our own community. It's going to be well beyond that. And so it's another avenue for us to get eyes on our ecosystem. It's another avenue for us to, take advantage of, the money and the economy that's spent outside of our ecosystem and bringing it back into our ecosystem, which is fun. It's not just going to be a lottery amongst our NFT holders. No, this is going to be on a global stage, and it will get a lot of publicity, a lot of traffic. We'll do the best we can to make it the golden standard of that, type of thing. And with that, it's just going to create constant exposure. So again, it's creating this win-win-win scenario for all of us.
Well, damn, you guys are thinking really big with this really quick. That's awesome. I love what you're thinking outside of the ecosystem too. It could be one of those things that starts to onboard people easy. It could be the thing that you use to take some of the, let me try and find a nice word, the non-crypto people of the world and introduce them kind of into the bank, onto the on-ramp. Here's an easy 3-step process to get involved and participate in this upcoming draw, this upcoming game or contest. Go to this here. And then now all of a sudden they've got a wallet, they've got an account, they're finally into the crypto game, and that could be an excellent way to onboard people. Really, I've heard.
Yeah, it's just an exposure game for us. It's like, how do we get mass exposure in every category there? So there's a lot of people that may not be looking for an NFT, but when they see a cash prize or like a Powerball size opportunity, they're going to say, well, what is this and what's behind it? And it's just an opportunity for us to answer questions and get exposure, drip by drip. So it's going to be fun.
Well, it's pretty awesome because there's a subset of crypto analysts, like big time guys, smart, credible, large following guys who've always said, or at least been saying for many years now, that they believe that some form of gaming will be the number one thing that becomes the catalyst for onboarding the masses to hit us past that inflection curve of adoption in crypto. That'll be some form of gaming thing that appeals to the masses, because a lot of the masses aren't interested in charts and investing and learning and that kind of stuff, and all the serious projects that come with crypto. So you have something lighthearted. This might be the thing. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and again, we're trying to get a broad appeal to a bunch of different people, bunch of different ages, bunch of different sectors. It's probably a good time to talk a little bit. One of the things I just want to mention is, obviously, because of the relationships we have with the bank, with this, we're in highly regulated spaces. And so there's probably going to be areas of the world that this is not available in, just based on the local laws and things like that. I want to make that very clear that, from the get-go, especially based on what we've experienced over the last 9 months, being in crystal clear, regulated, where we know exactly what we can and can't do, where we can and can't do it, is absolutely paramount in the way that we're thinking about rolling this out. And so there are probably some jurisdictions that this won't be available in, but we will be in every jurisdiction that we can. And there's probably some other projects that are going to fall into that category too. Not all projects are going to be available in all areas, just based on the local, guidelines that are there. But again, that's really in the forefront of our thought process, and we're going to stay compliant during this whole thing so that nothing happens like happened before.
Yeah, another thought to that too is actually Donnie, a valued member of the community, posted a great solution with that Pulau visa. That's really interesting. So things like that, and my friend that goes by the initials of VPN might still, allow people to play ball. That Pulau residency is actually a very interesting solution to some people's problems anyway. So interesting.
Yeah, just, the nice part about what we've done over the last 2.5 years, we've expanded a user base, far beyond, the traditional borders of where we started, and we were in 130 countries, I believe. I think we're still floating in the high 110s. And hopefully with the launch of Lemon, we will appeal to at least a large majority of that base, so that we're in 100+ countries overnight, and being able to expand that, hopefully to every corner of the world is what we're looking for. So, but we got to play within the rules. So.
Jake, do you, I mean, this may be thinking way too far out, but do you see One Digital Media playing maybe a role in creating some of these, Lem Lotto style campaigns as, little flash ads within other media pieces? I mean, I could see that being a really good fit.
Yeah, so there's going to be a combination of, One Digital Media, which is really going to be they're the influential arm, you know what I mean, to get the word out there. But then we're going to take advantage of that through the app that we have being developed and partnered with. And then we obviously have our, call it, end piece that's going to be really fun. I know you've hinted a couple different things. We're trying to keep that very tight until the very end, but you have the combination of influencers, then a platform for them to influence on, combining with a retail solution that gives them a way to monetize that value. And then we're just plugging Lemon. It creates this whole circle, which is what we're calling, the Lemon ecosystem, which is truly an ecosystem. It's not just a, platform that offers products. It's going to be, widespread to where when Jason says all things lemon, he means all things lemon. I mean, we're going to capture everything. So that's the goal, at least.
I love it. We should call it the Lemon Flywheel. I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
The flywheel concept, right? Because it just it does have that circular feedback loop that just feeds into one thing after another, and then it just that momentum just really picks up. So, so this is going to be an L2 project as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it's going to be in. So really, with L2s, there's kind of there's two, I guess, categories. There's going to be kind of the internal Lemon projects, which you're going to see branded, Lemon or Lem, just like Lem Bank, Lem Card, and all those things. And then we're going to we're doing that as kind of our core product base, which is really what we're going to go to market with to try to get the mass publicity. Then it's going to be an open invite to everybody else to say, listen, you in the blockchain world, you have options, and there's a lot of them now. And there's actually some really good ones out there. If you're going to launch a blockchain project, you can go to Polkadot, you can go to, Tansy, you can go to BNB, Binance, so what we want to try to do is create a draw to come to us. And so what we're implementing is, obviously, our user base, which is going to be influential through One Digital Media, the app, hey, list your project here and we're going to get you 100 million views. You know what I mean? List your project here. We have financial components that we can bring to the table to incentivize that, and list here and be a part of this Lemon ecosystem that hopefully is going to start, really taken off based on what we've put together and what Jason's been able to create over there. So again, we just want to offer a superior product for a competitive price and offer benefits that nobody else will, which is what we're putting together.
What's the time frame on something like Lem Lotto going live?
I'm glad you asked. We'll probably, again, because there's a little bit of an impromptu, we may not hit the full 40-minute mark, but I'll do the best I can to, answer questions at the end. But had a great call with the dev team today, and I'm actually really excited about the progress. Obviously, when we talk tech, it's very hard to be definitive.
We can get ballparks.
But we are looking at having a very familiar look to our decentralized app going online July 1st. And when you see that, you're going to see multiple projects ready to go. So we are ticking down the days.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we are approaching the end of the month already. We're already galloping into it. So that's fantastic. And a whole bunch of new projects live already. Plus, Jason said we're probably going to see some light papers and some other things coming out before then. So
yep.
I'm excited, friends. I mean, this is a really quick turnaround time given everything that's been going on, all things considered. I know sometimes it doesn't always feel that way for those who've been through the last 10 months, but I mean, from where we're at from the pivot point to an end point, that's pretty impressive.
And we have to understand that. I mean, really, ultimately, this has been 90 days in the making, but it feels like it's been 10 months in the making. You know what I mean? And I understand that frustration. I understand that, feel that the community has. We're doing the best we can to get this out and get this alternative, is up running as soon as possible. But I mean, honestly, I have no doubt they will write books and make movies about the progress we've made in 90 days. I mean, we have accomplished something that no other company, in my understanding, has ever hit. And we're very proud of that. And so even though no doubt there will be some speed bumps, no doubt there will be some delays, there always is. Again, we're committed 24/7 to deliver this product at a superior pace and have it work, function exactly like it's supposed to. And I think we're going to do it. So
that's very cool. I mean, things are really getting exciting finally. Again, it feels great to wake up every day excited to hear something new, some news, something happening. For a long time, that silence was just, like almost PTSD inducing. I see someone asking here about the swappability of old projects into new projects. I feel like we've covered this many times, but let's maybe, if you just want to put a little bit of clarity to that and what that will look like.
So again, that's down Jason's path, and so he probably has more more technical answers for that than I do. I can tell you theoretically what we're trying to do is for anybody that has, there's two different things at play here. You have the utility token, which was debt over here, and what's going to be lemon over here. And so there's going to be a swappability, within that, those two projects. And then you have the underlying projects, going from, BGLD, NatG, Aluminum Explorer, Grow, all of those to our layer 2 or our internal, lemon projects, what we've announced so far, Lemflix, which is very exciting, Lem Lotto, which is very exciting, and there's more and more coming. There will be a swappability within those. And so again, all we want to do is provide people with options. So if you're happy where you're at, then stay where you're at. I mean, again, we maybe have a little bit more of an inside track of what's going on the other side, even though there's some difficulties and things. The future, we believe in it. We're holding, projects there. But we also know that there, sometimes you need to breathe fresh life into something. And so we're going to pour everybody a nice, refreshing glass of lemonade if they want. So, we're really trying to have a no man left behind mentality. We can't change the past. We can't change where we are, but we can obviously do the best we can to move forward in a positive direction that, helps everybody. And that's what we're going to try to do.
And we'll breathe some fresh air into it with a very lemon tainted breath. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good. Someone's asking about sexes and dexes. I just confirmed that, yes, we will have both. I'm not sure if they'll both be ready on the exact same time frame, but yes, we will definitely be having both of those.
Well, I can actually probably talk about that a little bit. There will be a DEX, coming out that's will be specifically for us. But to start with, again, we're going to start on the Binance network only because the swappability features in order to, take us from A to Z. I think that will be a short-lived, relatively speaking. I mean, not weeks, but it's not going to be, a year out or anything. We'll convert to our own chain and start this, really, off the ground going. But we already have listing agreements with 7 different exchanges, just because of the relationships we have here. And so one of the things that's exciting for us is, we had to build that up slowly with debt and the previous stuff over time. And if you've ever tried to list on an exchange, it's excruciating sometimes. I mean, the fees to launch, the capital expenditures and all of that. What's been really exciting about this with the partners that Jason has over there is a lot of that's been waived. He's been able to share the vision of what we're doing. And so we have some of these very name brand exchanges ready to come on board day one, advertise with us, and they're very excited about what we're bringing to the table. So we will not see yes, we will be on PancakeSwap. Yes, we will have the decentralized exchanges, but we will also have some big names pushing us as well, which is going to be great for the community, the people that are holding the NFTs and taking those tokens to market.
Yeah, friends, I mean, a DEX has a lot of benefits, but sexes have some benefits. I prefer not to stay away from them, but one of the functions they provide is major liquidity, big brand awareness, big name brands, and access to the masses. And you're really going to like what you hear soon, but I'll wait till Jason's ready to announce it, but you're going to like what comes next on that front. But I'm more excited about the Dexes. So, but we'll see. But the Sexes can still do a lot, get us a lot of leeway down the road, making it move faster. So
again, and if you listen to Jason talk over the last 2.5 years, you know his stance on decentralization. I mean, and we're never going to pigeonhole ourselves into something where we are dependent on another brand, another this. So we will have alternatives for sure.
Jake, one of them, you may or may not want to take this on, and I think sometimes it's probably because there are some moving parts in the background. It's not one of those things you can unilaterally decide. I was trying to explain this to people in the group today. There's still just a lot of let's call it anxiety around how a debt and a LEM pairing might look like, and what kind of convertibility that might look like. We know the NFTs will swap, but was there any clarity that we could speak about on the tokens? Because that question is one that just keeps coming up.
I can appreciate that. I understand everybody's angst around that, but I know Jason really wants to wait until we know what we're going to do. But the problem is, if we announce what we're going to do, then it allows for some manipulation, which could hurt both sides. And that's the last thing we want to do. So that's one where I would say, and I hate, it's nails on a chalkboard, me even saying this, please be patient. You're not going to have to be patient much longer. But we have what we feel like is a very, mutually beneficial plan moving forward to address that issue. We know it's on everybody's mind. But we just got to make sure that, there's bigger players that could manipulate this to hurt smaller players. And we really want to make sure that everybody's treated fair, equally across the board, that there's no advantage that can be gained or gamed in the system. So be patient with us. There is a plan, and Jason will be announcing that very shortly.
Yeah, very well said. I figured that was still the answer. I just don't know at what point in time where we cross that line where it's able, because that question just keeps droning on. So,
well, I'll tell you this. We need to take care of the legacy stuff before we go front facing. And so if you're looking for a window of time, it's closing dramatically fast. So this will be presented. It'll be presented in a way that you won't have to act on it immediately, but the path will be laid out for you so that you have some time to really look at it, decide, make the decision for yourself. You'll have some time to make that decision. So it won't have to be immediate, but again, we just want to make sure that nobody, even our friends, Terry and this, that have some of the inside track, we're trying to hold that close so that nobody can, manipulate or game the system. So hopefully you guys can appreciate that. It is in the best interest of everybody. And the second that the technology is ready to do what we want it to do, we will release it to the public.
Very cool. Jake, are there any other L2 projects, maybe within the LEM, the LEM umbrella that you feel comfortable talking about at this point in time? People originally saw that the 12 logo graphics that came out that kind of had some teasers, and I think people are still kind of interested and curious and just excited in general to hear what's coming on. So
yeah, there's some things that are going to be expanded upon what you guys have already heard. I know Jason's talked in a little bit of detail about LEM Bank, but some of the services within LEM Bank, there's going to be subcategories. All the things that we were looking forward to, in the journey, if you've been with us for 2.5 years, are all coming to light here. So the debit cards, the card, that'll be on deck. With LEM Lotto, there's another side of this. You don't have to be too imaginative to understand, but we actually have some really big name players that are going to come along for the ride that will be fun. But part of what Jason and I believe in is, yes, we can make an announcement and we can talk about stuff, but it's much better if we have the company itself announce the partnership and then us come in and explain it. We want that validation, that verification day one. Don't take our word for it. Here's the CEO of XYZ, and he's going to tell you exactly what's going on. And you're going to see, we've been kind of stacking the deck up so that the last couple of days before we soft launch this in July, you're going to hear from those people out of their own mouth. Their companies are going to do the press releases, and then we'll obviously do the best we can to capture as much, excitement and publicity off that as we can. So,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those calls. I know those are probably a little trickier to arrange, but it's going to be really exciting just to have them come on and say, "Hey, look what we have for you. Here's our plan. Here's our vision. Here's how much weight we want to throw behind it too." Right? Some people imagine, I think, sometimes that these partnerships are, distant arm's lengths, afterthoughts. But if you realize that they really are leaning into this, that's exciting.
Yeah, I know that Jason has the CEO from One Digital coming on. He wants to sit here and explain why he wants to partner with us as well. And, understand from that point of view, we understand why we want to partner with these Fortune 500 companies, but to understand why they want to partner with us, we'll just kind of fill in some of the gaps that I think people have in the way that they're thinking about this entire, lemon economy that we're creating here. So, stay tuned for that. It's coming. There was one that again was supposed to happen today, but we felt like getting the Jason and Shad on was more important. And then there was just a scheduling conflict. There was a fluke at the last minute. So I know Jason's planning on doing that either tomorrow or the next day with him. So hopefully we can get that, because I know people have questions there and they want to see, both sides of that as well. So that's coming very shortly.
Yeah, last I talked to Jason, he sounded like he was for sure tomorrow. I guess I didn't ask him about what the agenda was, but that he was still up for tomorrow. So, yeah. Someone's asking if the blockchain parameters, friends, it is still the blockchain that we've been talking about for a long time, for at least a whole year now. I know it may not be the full dream blockchain right from day one, but just the same way Ethereum keeps evolving. Is that kind of where we're at right now, Jake?
Yeah. So I know that there's been some videos of the podcast I did with Joe that have been posted. If I'm being honest, I'm no longer, I guess, authorized to speak on behalf of Debtbox. So that's not necessarily a video that we should be promoting, here at Lemon. We will do a new, a video explaining kind of what we're doing, but just like all technology, we got to make sure the foundation's right. And so the first part of the blockchain, or the L1, is going to just be that. It's going to be the foundation, the meat and potatoes, and then we'll get into some of the newer technologies that we talked about back then moving forward. But we want to make sure that obviously we're not trying to be there's some really cool stuff that's been tested for a long time, but testing it in a sandbox is a little bit different than the application in the real world, and there's always challenges. And so we just want to make sure that as we're onboarding, to the degree that we're going to be onboarding people, that there's a smooth transition. And so it's going to roll out kind of a V1, V2, V3, status. So I bet it'll be fun over the next year for sure.
Just the idea that we are finally getting started after all this anticipation of being on our own chain is just awesome. Like,
the frustration is we were so close. We were so close, guys.
I know. And I still remember having these conversations with you guys in Dominican about these, that's been a long time. So I've been just so anxious for it all this time. And it's just such a huge milestone for any real crypto project to really step into that. So, yeah. Jake, there's this. Some people are a little more on the sour side of Lemon than sweet side of Lemon about the pivot. Let's call it that, maybe. Someone here is saying that the OGs have no real choice regarding Lemon. I think the opposite is true. You've actually quadrupled your choice, and maybe even more so than that. So everything's an option, not an obligation. Do you want to kind of elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I guess I would just echo what you said there. What we're trying to do is provide an option, not dictate, what goes on. You're not going to be required to do anything. If you like the project you're in, stay there. Again, we have a little bit of a foresight with the partners that, the Debtbox has over there. And what I can tell you is these guys don't like to lose. There's a bright future over there in my mind, much of which has already been laid out. The vision hasn't really changed, other than some nuances because of the sectors that they're heading into. There really is kind of, again, when you're in the commodities market trying to accomplish what Roy and Shad are over there, there's some things that you have to navigate around, where me over here with the lottery, I don't, and so even though there was kind of a mutual path that we were kind of going down, it makes more sense to say, okay, let's take all these highly regulated, commodity industries and let's, separate them off so that everything can be fully compliant. Everything can have checks and balances the way that it needs to in order to do and accomplish the long-term goals that we have for those projects. Where over here, there's much more of a, listen, I don't want to underwrite every project that comes on the lemon chain. I want this to be a free revolving door for all to come. I want to incentivize people to come. Well, those two ideologies don't necessarily match up. And so it's not that one of them's bad or one of them's good. You might have a preference, but ultimately, there's, multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to win in life. So I think both sides have a very bright future, and hopefully, I understand some of the angst. I don't think once the entire vision is laid out, people will have that same angst. I think that you will see how, congruent both sides really are. We both want to mutually succeed. We want each other to succeed. We're both, again, Jason speaks often about the fact that he is a heavy note holder over there. He wants them to succeed. They're family, they're our friends. We want everybody to succeed. So hopefully this isn't, I know it's been presented in some ways like it's a Sophie's choice kind of thing, but it really shouldn't be that way. All we're trying to do is say, listen, we've been through 10 months of hell. We have all these bright things in our future. Now you get to choose which one you want to participate in. And hopefully it's both.
Jake, I feel like this come up with many times, but just to clear the air, the idea is that these L2 projects come in, they have to lock up the lemon coin. We lock up and shrink the supply and get it all locked up. It's still, that's all still in play. None of that's changed.
Mm-hmm. That's our entire philosophy: supply and demand. How do we, restrict supply, increase demand? And we all know, based on economics 101, what that does, and that's what we're striving for.
Someone said for the 4 projects, they have to transition to lemon no matter what. If you don't like it, friends, then you could always just transition those NFTs and transfer them over to the other debt projects if you prefer. Mm-hmm. Swappability goes both ways. You get to choose what you want to do. No one's holding anyone hostage here. So hopefully we can put that to rest. But yeah, I'm excited about getting the supply out. I guess my little bit of my anxiety lately is, how fast could we get this lemon coin into supply? Because we're going to try and lock it up as it hits the day one. So that's exciting to get it all out. I can't wait for the NFTs to start printing the token and seeing things go live.
There's going to be a demand for it. I know that.
And I love the idea that Jay was talking about the other day with using refurbished cell phones. So we can teach them how to make money. We can help them be more digitized, get rid of a real life expense for them on something that's turned into landfill, and then program it with our own apps to try and walk them into our ecosystem. That'd be amazing. If there's any way we could rebrand those landfill phones, that'd be even better.
There is going to be, well, there's 2 sides of this. Yeah. One of them, one of the things that's exciting about me is, yes, we are a tech company. We do a lot in the blockchain space, but we're not solely there. And so as we talked earlier, having what Jason was referring to is, we spend a lot of time in Africa, and it's amazing to see the quality of life over there for so little. And an extra $1 a day makes such a huge impact on vast majorities of the populations of this planet. And so while we may be sitting here with the perspective of how do I make an extra, $1,000, $5,000, $50,000 a month, that's not even in the wavelength of the majority of the population, of our brothers and sisters here. They're looking at, how do I create an extra $1, $2, $3 a day, and what we really want to do, we've always had the philosophy where, much is given, much is expected. And when you give a lot, you get a lot. And so and that's been a motto for the 4 of us through this whole process. You've seen what Shad's tried to do in Africa. Our experience in Africa, what Jason was referring to is, you go out there and you have 4 families living in the same hut. You know, they don't have a TV. They've got dirt floors, and yet every one of them has a smartphone. And that's a beautiful thing, because with blockchain, you know, and I can't remember what the statistic is, so don't quote me on this, but it's a very, very high percentage of the population doesn't even have access to banking. I mean, the smartphone with blockchain gives them that. It gives them opportunity to interact and connect with more than just the local village, you know, or municipality that they're in. And it really creates a borderless, you know, world, which is a beautiful thing. And for opportunity, at least. And so some of these things that we're putting together, you know, like we talked about, you know, the phones, and then introducing them to an app where they can monetize, you know, their time, you know, and energy and efforts to then go into backdoor to the, you know, retail side of things. We can create people income without ever touching an NFT or without ever touching, you know, blockchain, but then to slowly introduce them into that side of things, where I think is, you know, give them, you know, they're going to go straight from, I mean, you go into some of these older cities and they have, you know, telephone lines everywhere. You don't see that in Africa. All you see is the, you know, the cell phone towers. And so they're skipping an entire generation of, you know, development in essence. And so we can take them into the 21st century, provide a little bit of extra. And again, it creates a win-win to where the people that are involved in the blockchain projects from day one should win as well. And it's going to create a beautiful synergy, I think.
Jake, I'm going to put his question on the screen. It's another one I feel like we've talked about it many times, but let's take it on so we can put it to rest.
Yes, absolutely. So the app that we're going to at least start with is going to be very reminiscent of the old app. So if you managed your old, you know, project licenses or NFTs, as long as for the period of time that both of us are on, you know, the BNB network, especially, it's going to be very easy for that transition to happen. So in one app, you'll be able to manage Lemon NFTs as well as the Debtbox NFTs. You won't need to go to two different places. They'll in essence, from a user experience, feel like it's still one platform. And that's the goal that we're going to try to start with. Now, as they branch off into their own blockchain, we branch off into our own chain, we're going to try to technically support, you know, all of that, but it may look a little bit different in the future than it does now. But in the short run, yeah, you'll be able to manage everything in one, you know, one-stop shop.
Right. Which is fantastic. Well, we're coming up around that time, Jake. So I'll start by kind of winding it down here, unless I'm not seeing a lot of other questions pop up. But we would also just love to get your closing thoughts. We're genuinely, sincerely, really grateful. It is such a breath of fresh lemon scent coming through the air in the past couple of weeks of actual communication, regular, consistent communication, the return of optimism, the return of a vision, a plan, and a lot of the puzzle pieces coming in. And in some ways, not only are we getting all the things that we were dreaming about last year, but we're actually 10xing it in a lot of regards. So I think it's just getting incredibly exciting. And I know people are like just dying to do the actionable steps. And we're not, friends, it was not a game. We are really, really close, but the tech has to be right and the timing has to be right for a few things. But this month is ending, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff before this month does end. So
you're definitely going to have a sneak peek of some of the technology. So instead of talking about it, we'll be able to start showing it. And there's a lot that's being rebranded right now, which just takes time to work out all the little kinks and things like that. Again, if I were going to leave on a message, it would be a message of gratitude. Like, we understand the position that everybody's in. We understand that there's been a lot of angst. And we are just so grateful that you guys are giving us an opportunity to present our vision to you guys and hopefully bring everybody along for the ride. And so I really appreciate, again, I hate talking about patience because everybody's been more than patient, but just be patient with us. We're coming. Everything is being developed developed out. And we're just so grateful for everybody in the community that stuck with us, through all the turmoil that we faced. And it's been a real blessing for us, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And hopefully at the end of the day, when you see what we have in store for you guys that have stuck with us, you'll know and see our appreciation come to fruition. So just thank everybody. So we love you guys.
Cool. Maybe we can come up with some lemon goggles for everyone so they can have some lemon vision going forward. It might be a little better in tunnel vision. So, all right, Jake, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll catch you again on here really soon, because we always enjoy having you as a guest. Friends, take care. We'll hit you in the chats. If you got stuff, we'll do our best to connect the dots and close the open loops for you. Have a good one, guys.
Just because Mike's not here, we'll do a little
money dance still. Oh yeah, I like it. There it is.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Terry. We appreciate everything you're doing for the community. It's been awesome.
Perfect. Appreciate it, Jake. Have a great one, guys. That's it. We're out for today.